There are calls for Blockbuster Video to return. Have you heard this, Alan?
I mean, people are making calls for their Blockbuster movies to be returned.
There are. I have thoughts about this. There are people saying let's bring Blockbuster back. Now, I was around when Blockbuster rose to prominence. I worked at a video store in high school and when I was in college, Thomas Video in Royal Oak, Michigan. And catty corner from where we were located was Blockbuster Video. And honestly, I never really got into the nostalgia of Blockbuster. Just did not get into it. So because I worked at a video store, and the reason our video store was able to compete with the Blockbuster, can I just bluntly tell you why? Thomas Video carried unrated movies and porn. That's it. We had John Waters movies. We had all these other unrated films. And they had a little room off to the side where they carried adult films. So I was not a big fan of Blockbuster, but there are calls to actually bring Blockbuster back. And you'll see online, people on X are talking about it. Let me just show you just one of them here, and I'll show you this video. Blockbuster was paradise. You didn't have the movie at a click. You had to go, walk down the aisles, search, see if the VHS was available. And they sold you everything from candies to all sorts of things for the full home movie experience. What beautiful memories. Check out, let's look at this this short video giving you an idea of a trip to Blockbuster back in its heyday. Oh, I did that so many times. Putting in the case right, rewinding them, checking them in.
Be kind, rewind.
I love the what people wore. Look at that, dressed so formal. You didn't see a lot of neck tattoos. You don't see a lot of neck tattoos back in that day. Look, this is all the nostalgia that people are. Oh my God, this music is so cheesy. You know how much more of this I can take.
We're not gonna get copyright struck because of this music.
We're gonna get a copyright strike for that. I don't know about that. All I'm saying is, I really think people don't miss Blockbuster. What they miss is in-person experiences. Mm-hmm. I used to go to a Laserdisc store in Pasadena on Green Street in the 90s called Laser Library. It's no longer there. I became friends with a buddy of mine, worked the counter. He was a counter jockey there named Anthony Miele. He's my good friend who became a cinematographer, actually works in TV. But at the time he worked at Laser Library, we would argue relentlessly about movies to the point that a crowd, like people had already made their purchases or rented or did whatever. They'd stand around and watch the two of us yell. This is before podcasts were a thing. Now people watch you and I on YouTube yell at each other. Well, I yell, but debate movies. And that's what we did. The in-person experience, when you're sitting there, I mean, when I turn on Netflix, I spend more time where I just give up. I'm scrolling, maybe that. There's something about you're at a video store and you say, you pick up thing. What do you think of this? And you get an instant. The people that work the counter, whether Blockbuster or a small, privately owned video store like a Laser Library or a Thomas Video, instantly you could pipe in, and everyone who worked at Thomas Video were film nerds, and we could chime in like, oh, this is the best John Waters movie, or this thing, Stallone is good in this. like whatever. The whole thing was at your fingertips. You had movie geeks to offer their opinion. I'll give you an example also. The kind of like nostalgia people are feeling for Blockbuster, and I bet, I'm gonna bet someone will do a pop-up of Blockbuster, a pop-up store, of Blockbuster. The nostalgia for Pizza Hut. Have you seen this? The nostalgia behind
Oh yeah.
a classic Pizza Hut. It's been all over here. I've got a short video about this. Again, it's nostalgia because all of the restaurants. Let's take a look at this really quick.
Familiar red roof catches the eye. Inside, the vinyl booths, Tiffany-style lamps, and yes, the salad bar you may remember from decades ago.
I mean, it's amazing the comments we
and the red cups.
Yeah.
People are nostalgic for the 90s. 90s nostalgia is here. The people that grew up in the 90s are making movies. They're in entertainment. They have influence. And they miss this. When you look at modern restaurants, like an old, like a new Taco Bell or a new McDonald's compared to what they used to look like when they were fun. Where's the play places in McDonald's?
have about, they have the red cups. Yes, we do.
Tim Sparks got his start.
Anyways, you've seen news reports like this. This nostalgia I believe the nostalgia is not necessarily for Blockbuster, not necessarily for Pizza Hut. It's for experiences we had together. Pizza Hut, you could go for a cheap meal, get a salad, share a pizza, get refills on your Diet Coke or whatever. And it's those in-person. Too much of our lives are online. Whether it's choosing a movie or ordering DoorDash, what this nostalgia for is for when we used to interact. We used to engage with each other, whether it was a movie choice or a pizza topping. Alan, what are your thoughts on the recent calls for Blockbuster Video to return and this nostalgia for Pizza Hut, which I think will be a huge success, by the way?
I don't know it'll be a huge success, but it does speak to what, the pandemic almost destroyed humanity. And it was for this reason. It made it impossible for community to occur. That's why you went to, the reason Blockbusters and your local video stores did so well was because of the community they built. You go in every Friday and you see the same people and you talk about movies. That is the thing we miss. Now you go to Pizza Hut, it's just a counter, as opposed to a restaurant you used to go to hang out afterwards, after some event you were at or some gathering you did, or, hey, let's hang out. The movie theaters, we keep talking about why you don't see comedies at home by yourself. Mm-hmm. You go to the theater, you sit next to strangers, you laugh together. If you dare, you talk about the movie afterwards with a total stranger, not knowing who they are. I can't tell you how many interesting conversations I've had with total strangers after seeing a really good movie. The last thing I'll say about Blockbuster is, I'll go on Netflix wanting to watch something, and I'm just clicking buttons, and it's like, what? I look at the poster that Netflix gives us, and like, do I want to see this movie? Do I care? And usually by after about 20 minutes, I'll have gone through all the menus and not watch anything. But when I went to Blockbuster, I would just walk down the aisle, and invariably I would rent something. Something would catch my eye, and that just doesn't happen to me at home on streaming anymore. I subscribe to all these services, and I just can't pick a movie. And I think, I don't know. And do we? There was a time also where you get with your friends, and someone will say, "Hey, I just rented Ghostbusters. You want to come over and see it?" Yeah, for some reason, you can't say that about streaming. Hey, Ghostbusters on Netflix. You want to come over and see it? I think, I want to say there's evil forces out there, dark forces that wants to destroy humanity, and they tried to do it through the pandemic by walling us off. And I think that's why this nostalgia is so attractive and so appealing.
And I'll tell you also why. I think there is going to be a major pushback against how tech has taken over our lives.
Mhm.
It's broken relationships between men and women. Young people, talk about young men and women that should be, living their lives and making mistakes, and that's okay. But here's where I'm encouraged. You've got a call for bringing Blockbuster back, along with Pizza Hut, and this. Alan, I was listening while I was looking this up. Here's a montage of college graduates booing AI-themed graduation speeches. Look at this. You got to see this.
Is the next industrial revolution.
From a tech business executive
They're
to a
all
music
getting
industry
booed.
titan and
Wait, look at
loud
this.
jeers on the topic.
The question is whether you will help shape artificial intelligence. We do not know.
They're all. This is a whole.
Can I just say,
It's a whole AI video of montage of speeches at universities where AI experts are talking about the future and grads are booing them.
Yeah, I
There
want
is
nothing of it.
there is a and look, my favorite sci-fi novel of all time, Dune.
Yeah, the booty jihad, right?
It's called Butlerian Jihad.
Oh,
Okay. It's like Dune takes place after humanity rejected AI and now lives in a future where there are human computers called mentats. It's very layered and involved. Ask Nerd Cookies, not me. I'm just saying what's encouraging is what people long for isn't Blockbuster. It isn't Pizza Hut.
Mhm.
It's in-person experiences. Even like you and I work together, and we work together now, like, oh my God, 7 years now.
Yeah.
More than that. Wait.
No. Next year will be 10.
Yeah. So we've worked together a long time. There's never been a film threat office. But when we work together on things, I miss being in an office where I could come by your cubicle, make fun of whatever's hanging on your wall, and we have a quick conversation about maybe an article that could be on the website or a story we should do or like some new t-shirt design. I miss that. Everything is virtual office. Yes, we work virtual office. We do this not in person. Mainly offices are pricey, but so it's more for financial reasons, but I miss that. I used to work in an office and it was very early in the early 2000s, late 90s. I started working at home. That was a new thing. To have a home office was new. And I remember I had a fax machine. Long story. That was how things were done back then. Anyways, all I'm saying is I believe there is a rejection of too much convenience, too much at your fingertips, and more of a return to let's deal with each other face to face.